to our Wednesday wisdom. And I'm so glad to have you with me tonight because we've been talking so much this week, especially on Awaken Her that we do on Mondays. So much about the goddess. Oh, yeah. And, this is also our um, Soft Life, Sacred Life series. So we've been talking about Oya in terms of how she impacts our lives in a softer way. And she's known to be a fierce warrior goddess, the goddess of storms and the winds. But sometimes she can be soft too, and that's what we've been discussing. So, um, let us get into our talk for tonight. And really, one of the questions that we want to ask ourselves is a primary question that we want to ask ourselves tonight is what are you still holding on to that the wind is trying to carry away for you? Because we know that Oya is generally a kind of goddess who she doesn't ask. She's kind of like if you've got something going on where you are calling on her, you need her help, and she's kind of like, give me that. And tonight we're going to talk about some of the other ways that the air can show up for us. The air, which is Oya, can show up for us uh, when we need her. So, as I said, this month we've been talking about soft life, sacred life. And sometimes when we hear those words, we think about rest, beauty, pleasure, receiving, peace. And, sometimes we can see softness in all those things. But one of the things that we really need to focus on when we're talking about softness and the wind in particular is our ability to be flexible, right? If you think about a tree in the wind, right? What keeps that tree from just snapping or being pulled out by the roots? It's the flexibility of the tree itself to be able to withstand the wind without having something untoward happen to it. And so uh, the woman who refuses to change, the woman who refuses to let go, right? Because she's afraid of uncertainty. She can be just as inflexible as the tree that snaps in the wind. So sometimes the sacred life really asks us to be able to bend a little bit, to let go a little bit, and to, it does ask us to rest. Sometimes it does ask us to receive. And sometimes it still asks us to be able to be flexible enough to move. So, one of the questions that we also want to ask ourselves tonight is what is trying to change in me? What are you finally willing to allow to change? And sometimes we may not even have a logical answer to that question. It may just be a feeling, it may just be a sense of knowing in our bodies, right? But we really want to experience this so that we can become as flexible and as willing to let go as that tree that will bend in the wind. So let's take a moment to take a deep breath in. Whew. Let it out softly. And once again, and one more time. And finally, imagine yourself standing in a wide open field. The sky above you is clear and enormous. Okay. You feel the first breeze touch your skin, and you know that a storm is brewing. Dark clouds start to move in over the horizon. And that wind continues to move across your face, across your body. And at first, it can feel like a soft, gentle caress. But then the wind begins to strengthen. You notice that you are carrying a heavy cloak. The cloak contains everything you've been carrying simply because you have become accustomed to carrying it. Old responsibilities, old expectations, old identities, old promises, and even old disappointments, old versions of yourself that you no longer need. But you grip this cloak around you as the wind grows stronger. But somewhere within the wind, you hear, "Beloved, why are you fighting to keep what is trying to leave?" You breathe in, remembering that the breath too is part of the wind, and you loosen your grip. The wind catches the cloak, and for a moment, you're frightened. You want to grab it, but instead, you let go. The cloak rises into the air and disappears. Notice how your body feels. You are lighter. You can breathe. You can move. You can feel your own skin again. And now Oja appears before you, powerful, beautiful, unapologetic, and she looks directly into your eyes and asks, "Who are you who are you without what you have outgrown?" That's such a powerful question. I almost couldn't get it out. Who are you without what you have outgrown? If you release everything that you no longer need, or if you could, because it's very difficult to just wholesale release all the things that you no longer need. But if you could, how would you feel? Don't rush to answer that question. Simply listen to your mind, your heart, your body, your spirit giving an answer to you. Breathe and feel the wind. And when you're ready, take a deep breath and slowly open your eyes and come back. Wow. I felt that very much throughout my body. I hope you were able to feel that as well. Feel some of those things that you really need to let go of, to let the wind take from you. I hope you were able to let some of them go during that brief meditation, or at least to think about, or feel about, or know about some of those things that you're really ready to give up. And then do that. Give it to the wind. Okay. So tonight I do want to ask you a couple more questions. You know, our questions to stir in your cauldron. So here we go. What has already ended in my life that I keep trying to resurrect? And I think this is a very powerful question because many times, even when something is over, we want to keep trying it. We want to keep doing it. You know, we say, well, we never give up because that feels like failure. But some things are meant to be released. If it's not working for you, if it's not doing for you what you need, it may be time to let it go, to give it to Oja, to give it to the wind, to take away. Another question to ask yourself is, where am I choosing familiarity over freedom? It's kind of like the devil you know versus the devil that may be even worse than the devil you got right now. So, where are you choosing familiarity over freedom? And finally, what truth keeps returning no matter how many times I ignore it? They say we keep repeating lessons until we actually learn them, and I think this is true 100%. So what lesson have you been avoiding learning because it feels safer to stick with what you know rather than let that go and welcome something new into your sphere? And Oya is the goddess of endings and beginnings. So isn't it time that some things in your life end so that you can welcome in something new, so that you can make space for that, so that you can welcome that in? I think so. I think that's always true for all of us, all of the time. There's almost always a time for release and for welcoming in something new. Okay. So let's sit with those questions, hold them in our womb cauldron, and allow answers to bubble up to the surface and inform us of maybe some things that we should be letting go right now. Okay. So, another thing I want to talk about is that, we talk about soft life, sacred life, but a soft life doesn't mean we have a life without disruptions or that our life is so peaceful we can just sit back and do nothing. Being soft is not about doing nothing. Okay. It is the understanding that we have activity, we have rest, that we women, our energy operates in cycles, and that the more closely you adhere to your own natural cycles, the more productive you can be, the more restful you can be, the happier you can be, and the more content you can be. So this is what we're talking about now, and one of the hardest reasons why, or hardest things to give up, which is why we don't have that soft life that we're looking for, is that sometimes we're in a constant state of resistance, resistance to letting go of what should be let go of, that inflexibility we talked about at the beginning of our time together. And the more you're able to be flexible, to move, because let's face it, the air is not stagnant, it moves. Okay. Um, Sometimes it is just a little whisper, and sometimes it's a full blown storm, but it is not stagnant. And we know that anything that becomes stagnant dies. So that's not something we're looking for. We're not looking for everything to just stand still and not move. Okay. But when we resist what we know needs to happen, this is when we become like that tree that won't bend. This is when we become resistant. This is when we become stuck in where we are. So we should be able to allow ourselves to move the same way that the air moves. Okay. Now, knowing all this in many ways requires a decision. It doesn't just happen, it requires the decision to change. Okay. So we want to be able to hold on to our boundaries, the ones that really mean something to us, the ones that keep us safe, protected, and whole. But we don't want to hold on to old thoughts, old patterns, old ways of being that are no longer serving us in the present day. Okay. So let's talk for 1 minute about the three winds of transformation. And there are three kinds of winds that we can experience. Okay. And the first one is the whisper, right? Something needs to change. And that is the whisper of the goddess all the time, because the goddess does whisper. She does not order us, she does not tell us what we need to do. Okay. But she'll whisper to us her idea of what we could be doing at that moment that could make our lives better and easier. Okay. And there are many ways in which we get that whisper, and not just an actual sound in our ear that tells you something needs to change, But maybe you're tired more often than you used to be. Maybe things that used to excite you now just feel heavy and you don't want to do them. Maybe you begin dreaming about something different than what you have. Maybe your intuition, that voice, or maybe the womb intuition, or even your heart intuition can tell you you need something new. It starts nudging you in a different direction. And this is the whisper. The whisper is gentle. And so many of us ignore it because we feel like it's just, just a thought. Maybe it's just an idea. It's not something specific or something that we can hold on to. So we ignore it. And you know how the universe works. If you don't listen the first time, if you don't listen the first time, that doesn't mean that the message is over, because the next thing you know, you get the gust. Something is uncomfortable. The same conversations play over and over and over again, even if it's just in your own mind. Opportunities disappear. Okay, people are crossing your boundaries right and left. Your body protests. The same lessons keep repeating. And life is saying to you, the goddess is saying to you, pay attention. Pay attention, because we are speaking to you and we are really trying to get you to move in a different direction that will help you and your life become more fulfilling. And of course, if we don't listen again, what happens? We get the storm. The situation changes without our permission. Something ends, something breaks, something is revealed, something can no longer continue as it has been. And suddenly you're forced to move. And the storm is not necessarily punishment. The same way that the whisper and the gust, neither of those were punishments. But the storm comes simply to move you out of your own way. Okay. And suddenly you find yourself as the woman at the threshold where you have to change and you have to move. Okay. And sometimes in unpleasant situations, because when the whisper and the gust came, you weren't ready to hear them. You weren't ready to feel them. You weren't ready to recognize what they were saying to you. But now it's that woman at the threshold where you know you're moving on to something else because you have to. This woman is no longer who she was. Okay. She can't really see who she's going to be yet, but she knows that she feels deeply uncomfortable in the place where she's at. Because all of us, we love certainty, we love comfort, we love safety, and we want instead of the goddess to tell us, to push us in a direction, we want the goddess to say, you're fine where you are. You don't have to move. You don't have to grow. You don't have to do anything. And in some ways, this is really true because we are all perfect as we are, perfect beings as we are. But if we want to grow, if we want to uh, accomplish our goals, if we want to find love, if we want to do any of those things, then we have to move away from what wasn't working to get into something else that will work for us now. And the truth of the matter is that while we're craving safety and certainty, transformation rarely gives us a guarantee. Instead, it says, take the next step, then another, right? Find trust in your spiritual practices, right? You don't need to know the entire road, but you know you're being guided toward whatever it is that you need to, first of all, let go and then adopt, right? And the thing you need most of all is courage. There are like three attributes that I really focus on in my work, and they are clarity, confidence, and the third one is courage. because without that, we don't take the step. We don't move forward. You know, we're the old time heroine. You ever see one of these old movies like from the 70s backwards where there's always some woman who, oh, I can't go on, I can't do it. You know, I used to hate those movies. But you have to pluck up that courage to be the person who can take the next step, who can move on, who can, even if they're not confident about what they're doing yet, they know that they can withstand whatever is coming forward next. So you take the chance and you take the shot and you do it. Okay. So take a minute, place your hands on your womb, take a breath, and don't even think. We don't really want to get our minds overly engaged in this activity. We want to feel the wisdom of the body. We want to find some place in our body, whether it's our womb, our heart, your left arm, whatever it is. And I want you to find the energy that connects with this next question. Take a deep breath in and think to yourself. Take that back. Don't think to yourself. Just feel. What am I ready to release? Sit with that for a moment and let wisdom flow. And then ask, what am I ready to become? And you may feel these questions in different parts of your body. And where you feel each one should give you a clue as to the energy needed either to release or to welcome in. Okay. You want to listen to what your body is saying to you. Your body may answer through a feeling of expansion or tightness, warmth, emotion. You may recall a memory, a word, an image. You may experience just complete silence, but you can't force wisdom. You can only make room for it. So I want you to repeat after me these affirmations if they resonate with you. If they don't, you don't have to repeat them. Here we go. I trust the winds of change. I release what has completed its purpose. I do not chase what is trying to leave. I honor the woman I have been, but I also welcome the woman I am becoming. I trust myself at the threshold. I choose freedom over familiarity. I bend without breaking. I breathe through uncertainty. I am not afraid of becoming. I am the woman left standing after the storm. So, goddesses, here's our practice for the week. If you want to join us, whenever you feel it, the wind against your skin, you just really want to pay attention to the wind. It's where I am right now. It is summer, so we may get a gentle summer breeze right now. We don't have too much um, wind right now, but whenever you feel it, notice it, pause, take a conscious breath, and ask yourself, what wants to move? What within me wants to move? Maybe something within you needs releasing. Maybe something needs beginning. Maybe you simply need to stop controlling the outcome. Get into that flexibility we talked about before. Let the wind become your reminder that movement is natural. And so, dear goddesses, let's have our closing blessing. May Oja walk beside you at every threshold. May her winds clear the pathways you have been afraid to walk. May she remove what you no longer need the courage to carry. May she remind you that endings are sacred. May she teach you that change is not always loss. Sometimes change is liberation. May you stop chasing what the wind has already carried away. May you stop resurrecting versions of yourself whose seasons have ended. And may you bless the woman you have been without requiring yourself to remain her. May your breath become deeper. May your boundaries become clearer. May your spirit become lighter. And when the winds begin to rise, may you remember you do not have to fear the storm when you know who you are becoming. So open your hands, open your heart, open the windows of your life, and let the sacred windows move through. Let the sacred winds move through. Ah, sorry about that. May what needs to leave, leave, and what needs to remain, remain. What needs to arrive, arrive. And may you have the courage to stand at the threshold and say, I am ready for what comes next. Thank you for joining me tonight, goddesses. I am Dee Savoy, your goddess whisperer. If you want to contact me, it's very easy. It's D at dsavoie.com, DEE at DEESAVOIE.com. You can find me at my website, or you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, and I hope to see you at our Monday night meetings, Awaken Her, and you can find information about that uh, either on my website or on Facebook. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week. Thanks.